Chromebooks. 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 Now, for any of you out there who have used Chromebooks before, you probably already know that they get a pretty bad reputation, and you probably, if you've used one before, then you probably don't like using them. And you might have some reasons for that, and your reasons are probably all very valid. And I'll show you why in a second. So, this is an earlier model Chromebook that I believe was made by Dell. It uses a standard Dell charger, same as a Dell Inspiron laptop, or a Dell Latitude laptop if that's more your thing. This particular one used to belong to a school. I actually got it from a school tech person who gave me several of these. This was the only one that worked. All the other ones either had broken charging ports, or motherboard issues, or both. This one happens to be missing the, I guess, front trim for the screen. Also on the rear side here, it's missing every single screw. All of them, they're just gone. So I used some packing tape to just kind of hold it together. And let's go ahead and start it up. Now, this is not a luxury computer by any means whatsoever. In fact, you don't even get any indicator lights except for a single one indicating the power. So, the power button isn't even separate from any of the other buttons. It's just sort of like a normal key. We got our Chrome logo. And then I'll go ahead and sign in. Well, that wasn't terribly slow, at least for Chromebook standards anyway. So this one has the internal tag number of NFR 27. I don't know how many of you know this, but I tag each computer that I work with and give it a number as long as it's functional. If it isn't functional, then I just throw it away. But this is a Chromebook. Some of the things it does is basic internet browsing. As the name may suggest, it's entirely based on Google Chrome. This is both its greatest feature and its greatest downfall. And it's its greatest feature because what these computers are meant for is basic internet browsing, maybe some Google Docs, maybe some Google Sheets, or I forgot what it's called. I think it's called Google Sheets, Google Drawings, you know, their kind of suite of apps. It is meant for that and nothing more. You try to do gaming on this thing, good luck. You try to do really anything besides really basic internet browsing and like document editing, it's just not going to do it. You can check your email on it, you can watch YouTube videos on it, as long as your internet is good enough. These Wi-Fi adapters on these are garbage, and the batteries on them are not that good. It has Bluetooth, which is actually kind of a fancy feature for a computer like this. It has a webcam, which works, I guess. Let's see if I can turn the camera on. As you can see, it's a functional webcam. It's not exactly high quality or anything, but for a computer like this, a webcam's kind of a luxury. But besides internet browsing, you really can't do anything with these. I believe this has a 32 gigabyte flash SSD, which is, for SSD standards, barely faster than a standard hard disk drive. It has, I believe, 1 gigabyte of RAM and a Celeron CPU, which I believe is dual core and less than 2 gigahertz. So, a very basic computer by any standards, and if you had put this all in a computer that was running Windows 10, you would probably get startup times of over a minute. But it has ChromeOS, which is, like I said before, its greatest feature, but also its greatest downfall. ChromeOS, it's lightning fast. Very fast, very responsive on these computers for the most part. You can run into some slowdowns when you're going through large documents on Google or whatever, but generally, these tend to be quite fast. And the reason for this is because ChromeOS is so lightweight. Windows 10 is heavy. There's a million things on it. There's so many programs that it tries to run at startup that it just bogs the computer down, especially ones with parts like this. So if you tried to run Windows 10 on this, it would be no good. The noise in these is actually pretty loud. I don't know how much you can hear it, but you can definitely hear the little fan motor working its ass off to try to keep that Celeron from overheating. Playing one of my videos on my channel actually worked fine. It was pretty smooth through the whole way, and the speakers on this, while not high quality, you can still make out the sounds. The keyboard on these, well, it's not great, it's not perfect. It's a decent keyboard for such a budget computer. The tactile response is decent, and you can generally kind of get a sensation common to that with most low-end laptops when you push the keys. As far as budget laptops concerned, this keyboard is quite nice, although I would prefer if the power button was somewhere like up here or over here instead of just being a key right next to backspace. Back when we used these for school, it was really easy to hit the power button by accident and then end up shutting off your Chromebook. But as far as low-end keyboards concerned, it's not bad. The trackpad on these leaves a lot to be desired. You never really know like which space is a click and which space isn't a click. On this one, you can click the bottom half of the trackpad, but not the top half, and there's really no clear line to tell. Also, right-click kind of doesn't exist on ChromeOS, which is a little disorientating at first, but the trackpad on these could definitely be improved. I've seen people bring mice. Back when we used these in junior high, people would bring mice from home and plug them into one of the computer's 2 USB ports and use them instead of the stock trackpad because the stock trackpad was so bad. By the way, this only has 2 USB ports, a single HDMI port, an SD slot, a Kensington K slot, and that is it. It also uses a standard Dell DC charging jack, which I went over earlier. You can use a Dell Inspiron or Dell Latitude laptop charger on these just fine. Now, ChromeOS is also its greatest downfall. And because I say this because these Chromebooks that are running ChromeOS, you can install Linux on it. I've never done it, but I know it's possible. I know people do it to play games on these, at least a very limited amount of games they can even run. But it's its greatest downfall because ChromeOS, without internet, this thing has the approximate functionality of a brick. You can do very little with this if you don't have an internet connection. Sure, you can download files to the hard drive, but you generally can't even view those files because it relies on the Google suite of apps to even open any sort of documents. You can open pictures and videos, but that's it. And since the storage space on these is so limited, I believe 16 gigabyte and 32 gigabyte are the standard, that you can't do anything with them if you don't have an internet connection. And the build quality on these, God, it's awful. As evidenced by this particular one with its missing trim panels and its loose charging jack and its all the screws being missing on the back panel. To be fair, this one did come from a school, and to be fair, whoever owned it probably was abusing the hell out of it because it's a fucking school computer. But you can see the Wi-Fi antennas running up through it. It actually has 2 antennas, which is kind of a luxurious feature for a computer like this. And I have to say, for its small package and its bottom of the barrel price, a Chromebook is a capable computer. If and only if you're doing really basic tasks like internet browsing and Google Docs and looking at photos of your grandkids or whatever. the use case for these are probably for two groups of people. Really old people and really young people. They're very, very common in schools. Basically every school in the Davis Joint Unified School District uses them in some form. And I say old people because a lot of my older aunts and uncles use these things, and I have to constantly fix them for them because their build quality is so bad. I got this as part of a couple other school computers that were also Chromebooks of the exact same model. The other ones didn't work because either the DC jacks didn't work anymore, the motherboards had died, the batteries had died, or the wireless chips were out, or any number of those. This was the only one I was able to get working, and I had to use donor parts from the other ones to actually get this one to start. But it is a functional computer, and if you only need it for really, really basic things, then it works for you. But if you're going anything beyond just fucking around on Chrome and doing your school assignments and typing up documents, this is not for you, and you will be aggravated by it. Also, if you want to keep this thing for more than a year, good luck having it not break. You have to baby these things for them not to break. Yes, to be fair, this one was in a school, and it was definitely treated very roughly, and to its credit, it does still run, even though I did have to fix it. I had to swap out the DC jack, but it is a functional computer, and for what it is, it's not bad. But if you compare it to anything else, it's awful. And ChromeOS, the only good thing about ChromeOS is how lightweight it is. It is completely reliant on the Google suite of apps for it to do anything at all. You can't do anything with just ChromeOS and without an internet connection. So that's my take on Chromebooks. Make of it what you will. I wouldn't advise buying a Chromebook unless you fall into one of the categories I discussed earlier. But hey, maybe a Chromebook's right for you. Thank you all for watching NFR Computers. Leave a like if you want to, leave a dislike if you want to, I really don't care.